Good morning.
Good morning.
We're backwards.
We are backwards. And it's not the camera that's backwards.
No, it's not.
We're backwards.
We're backwards.
And it really seems.
We are backwards. Good luck doing the sign language today, Miss Ellen. This feels weird to look at you from this angle. In general, I try not to move pianos.
Right.
Because the more you move them, the more attitude they get. And this one,
it's already attitude.
Yeah, so we don't want to knock it any more attitude.
Now,
so I generally leave them where I find them.
Yeah, and we know that we don't want this near air conditioning and heating.
Yeah, no.
And we already try to keep it away from there. But
yeah, and this room is already bad for a piano because it fluctuates. That means it changes so much. It's hot. Sometimes it's cold some days, it's humid some days, it's dry another day. That's really bad for pianos.
And these windows get sun almost all day long, which also means that it's heating up the room and we kind of want to keep this out of the sunlight. So maybe
this is better over here.
Maybe. I wonder where I should think about putting it for Sunday school this morning.
Oh, you're gonna move it?
I don't keep it right here because then certain children love to give impromptu concerts and things.
Mm-hmm.
So the more I can do to keep it away from the eyes and fingers of people.
Yeah, maybe we'll move back over there.
Yeah. I usually move it every Sunday. I'm the piano mover.
Oh, I didn't know.
I do. Mm-hmm. It's part of my workout program.
Okay. All right.
How are you?
I'm doing good. We're having a pleasant morning, but I hear there might be some thunderstorms later today rolling in.
Now it seems like 3 o'clock, which would be great.
That's
because
okay.
of the big party for Lynn Ports.
What's going on with Pastor Lynn?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh
no. It's great for Pastor Lynn and her family. She's retiring today. This is her last Sunday preaching in the pulpit. She's officially done the end of May, but this is the last Sunday our church family will see her here as a pastor. So there's a big tent that's set up outside. And I can do that because it's over that way. And there'll be a big reception after church. But at the end of worship, I want to take the children in so they can experience it.
There's no break.
Right, there's no break. So we go right at the end of it. But the problem is, I'm going to blubber and cry like an idiot, and then I'm just going to look awful. But what we do at the end of the service today, it's we actually have to dissolve our pastor's call. And we believe that God has called people to ministry. God calls people into their role. And God called Pastor Lynn to be our associate pastor here 14 years ago. And today we have to dissolve that call. I don't know about you, but when I think of dissolving, I think of like sugar and dissolving that into tea or something.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, and it's kind of, so it's different than that. It's dissolve. It's kind of canceling, undoing that call, or saying, okay, this work is completed. We're dissolving that relationship. Don't like the sound of that. But what we do at the end of the service then, well, you've been part of it, you understand it. How does it work? What do we do after the benediction? So the pastors don't leave today, right?
No, the pastors won't leave, and there'll be a prayer, and then a couple people will come up and say some words about Lynn and on Lynn's behalf. And then there's a little litany, I guess you would call it, to dissolve, to make the official dissolution. That's
the noun. There were people coming, peeking in the windows.
The dissolution.
Will
then happen. There's some responses for everybody to say, so the congregation will be a part of that.
Because we were part of the call for Pastor Lynn to come here, so we have to be part of the dissolution. Saying, we're sending you out into the world to do the next things God is calling you to do.
Which is hopefully some relaxation.
Yes, and being able to travel, and Pastor Lynn has grandchildren that she'll be able to visit. And think about this, she's been in ministry for over 40 years. And for 40 years, she's never really had a weekend off.
Yeah, right.
I mean, like 4 weekends a year, because you get 4 weeks of vacation or 5 weeks of vacation. So for 40 years, Pastor Lynn has only had 4 weekends off.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only been doing this for 14 years, and I've only had 4 weekends off for 14 years, like 4 weekends. And everybody looks forward to the weekend, so I'm glad that she's gonna have like
actual weekends. Yeah.
And like continuous weekends.
Yeah.
Her weekdays can be like her weekends, which will be really cool. So that'll happen after worship today. And Pastor Lynn is preaching. Did you hear the funny thing that happened to her microphone?
No.
Our pastors all have, hello, Quartz family. Hello. We were just talking about this being Pastor Lynn's final day, and we're talking to our children on TV, and we're telling them all about what it means to be called and what it means to dissolve a call.
Oh.
So and we said that Pastor Lynn's going to have like perpetual weekends now. So that'll be a great thing.
We're looking forward to that.
I know you are.
Thank you, Ellen.
Okay, see you later. We were just talking to Reverend Port's husband, who is also Reverend Port's.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and Doug Portz works for Pittsburgh Presbyterian.
I didn't know that.
Oh. And yeah, he's also pastor. So at first, their pastoral calls, it was Doug had a church, and then there were a couple times where both of them were together at a church. So on a Sunday, they're not even usually in the same place, because even though Pastor Doug now doesn't preach, a lot of times he has other commitments Sunday night. So he works for like the governing body of our church, the organizing body of Pittsburgh Presbyterian.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, he works with like the insurance side of things, so he helps the pastors understand how their insurance programs work. Another way you're called to do something.
Yeah.
You know? But today Pastor Lynn is preaching the sermon, and it's based on Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
We never get to say anything Deuteronomy.
I was excited when I saw that.
Yeah. And that has to be one of my favorite Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy.
And then from Revelation. And from Revelation, what's kind of really interesting is the Revelation passage was already like pre-selected for this Sunday. Like all churches around can preach on this, and it fits really well with Pastor Lynn retiring and going off and doing something new. How about that? You know? And so she chose the Deuteronomy to kind of dovetail with the Revelation verse. But anyway, so it's Deuteronomy and Revelation. And we didn't bring our chime.
No, we didn't start yet.
We didn't really start.
We're still doing the chit chat.
Yeah.
How about we light the candle while we bring our chime?
Okay, I like that idea.
Here we go.
Okay. Maybe. Oh,
We
go
got
ahead.
two more to hit it. Here comes the third one, Miss Ellen.
I'm just having lighter issues today. It's all because we're backwards. This mirror image stuff.
All right, we'll do our call to worship.
Okay, let's.
Here, tell the words on the screen to our friends at home.
Oh,
That's Jesus loves me. It's all because we're backwards.
all because we're backwards. We got off to a rocky start, but we got it.
We're
okay.
good.
We're
That's
good. We're good. Should we do the Holy Book?
Yeah, let's do the Holy Book Song. And we're listening for Deuteronomy and the Book of Revelation, which is a very, 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 very good.
Which we kind of missed last week. We were so excited to get all the way through.
By then I'm so out of breath that I can't even put my arms in the air anymore, especially while playing piano. All right, here we go. These are the holy books, telling the names of Jesus and the Lord. This is the holy word, tell the message of all that word. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges. Verses 17, verses 17, verses 7,
Well, and I got halfway through the New Testament, and I thought, wait, it's coming. And then I almost messed up on the rest of them. So Titus, Philemon, Hebrews, and James, and then my brain went to, wait, Revelation!
I forgot how quickly Deuteronomy comes. I wasn't prepared.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers.
Deuteronomy is the fifth one? Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy is the fifth one.
And I learned, Deuteronomy means instructions. Like, it comes from the same word, I guess. So it's kind of a list of instructions.
What?
It's a list of instructions that Moses gave to God's people, the Israelites, before they were to go into the land God had promised them.
Wow.
So in a way, it was kind of like a reminder all about the 10 best ways to live in the 10 commandments. But it was going into a little bit more detail even because God knew and Moses knew that Moses wasn't going to get to go into the promised land. Think about that. 40 years, Moses has been leading God's people throughout the desert, through the wilderness, everywhere. And then God said, you don't get to go into the promised land. You are going to die before you get there. And so Joshua was chosen to be the next person to lead God's people. But God had a special plan for Moses. Like when Moses died, God took, hello, Ruby! God took Moses into heaven. So God took Moses into heaven. So the Israelites didn't see Moses die. The Israelites didn't even know where Moses was buried or where his remains were. So, but Moses, all of this time in Deuteronomy, was giving instructions saying, hey, this is how it's going to play out. These are the things that are going to happen, without saying, like, I'm not going to be here to lead, I won't be here to lead you. Isn't that kind of like what Jesus did?
Yeah.
Kind of like all of his disciples started telling them all, I'm not going to be here forever. You're going to have to count on something else to lead you.
Yeah.
So I think that was just kind of the part of the message that we may hear today is that you might not be able to be at that place, but hopefully all the work you've done ahead of you will still have impact.
Oh, and that is
right?
so relevant to today.
Isn't that relevant to today?
Because certainly all of the work and love and the spirit that Pastor Lewis put into our church will definitely stay here.
Yes, just like when Pastor Todd went to a new church, we were so sad, but the work that Pastor Todd did has carried on, and we've grown on that, and now he's at a new church nurturing people. So the work that Pastor Lynn has been able to do will continue on. And it's very humbling, I think. We all have to remember that. Like, I won't always be doing children's ministry here. I just have to hope that all that I'm doing leading up to that matters.
Yeah.
Just
it
like
does. It certainly does.
Yeah. Well, and for you won't always be a music teacher at Quaker Valley, but you hope that all the things you've done to influence those children, your whole time there, make a difference for them later. You know, that's just kind of the parents are that way too. You send them off to college, and you're like, oh, please.
All of that I taught you.
Yeah, please have it, at least some of it stick.
Ooh.
Oh!
There's Reverend Harley out there.
That sounds like a sports car.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it is, yeah.
So do you have a song you
I
want to
do.
sing?
I have a little hymn for today.
Okay.
It's called Now Thank We All Our God.
Don't we usually do this at Thanksgiving?
I think we do. We do a lot of thanks songs during Thanksgiving. But I really like this one, and has a really, really great text to it. And the music is actually based on a song by the famous composer Mendelssohn, Felix Mendelssohn. So it's a really great melody. He actually did the harmony. Johann, what's his last name? Kruger.
1648.
Yeah.
He'd be really old if he was still alive.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a really long time ago.
So this is a Mendelssohn tune, though.
It's Mendelssohn harmony.
Harmony.
The harmonization.
So it's a 6-7-6-7-6-6.
It's kind of a weird meter, isn't it, with the
it's
syllable.
long.
All right, it goes like this. doesn't get to practice at home anymore with a little baby girl sleeping.
That's true, because you'd like her to be asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we start reading
Because
through
Olivia
Jesus.
does the ear thing.
Oh, I know, yeah. I did try this morning, holding her and playing with one hand. It didn't go so well. All right, Miss Ellen, I would love some.
That I think is one of those that's in my heart from my whole life. Like I know all 3 verses without having to look. I know the harmonization without having to look, because it's something that I've sung so many times.
I know this is one that I always forget about. It's like a standard hymn that everyone should know.
It's probably one when we start back in the fall and we do like a hymn of the month.
Yep.
This would be
November.
November's hymn of the month.
November would be perfect. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hi, Ruby. It's been so long. It's good to see you.
Yes.
You taller? Are you taller?
I think so.
You're
I think it's actually Emily Ann who's in here, and she's just pretending to be Ruby.
Yeah, right.
Because we have that Emily Ann hair length now, and she's
yeah.
taller. Looks like her older sister now. You do? Well, and it's interesting because.
And also, my cousin who's 5 years older than me, I'm like, I don't know, like half of an inch off from being as tall as her.
Wow.
So I'll be like more than half an inch before I go to the beach this summer.
Yep. You're getting taller and taller.
I'll be taller than my 5-year-older.
Right. Your 5-year-old cousin.
This is my brother, who is a lot taller, who is
Right.
equally taller than my mom.
Yes, your brother's taller than your mom. And your brother is as tall as your dad, too, I think. I came from a family, my dad's side, lots of tall people. My mother's side, lots of petite people.
Petite.
Petite.
That's a nice way to say it.
You could always tell when the Smith family showed up for a peer event because we were at least a foot taller than everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Funny. So today, I'm wondering if we have any birthdays or anything like that.
Oh my goodness, we do. We have.
Oh, Mr. D.
Oh, yeah.
We need to add Miss Taylor, who works in our nursery. Her birthday was yesterday.
Oh,
so we just need
goodness.
to think about that. Her birthday was yesterday.
Oh yeah, so I'll make sure we'll sing to her. I didn't put her on this little chart that I have here. But here are the birthdays today.
Okay.
We have Simon B. and then 2 birthdays today. I believe they're twins.
They are indeed.
Have the same last name and the same exact birthday.
Yep, they are
We
twins.
have Jackson R. and Zoe R.
Yep.
The twins. So and add Miss Taylor to
Miss
our
Taylor,
list.
yep.
Yes. So let's
Yep.
sing happy birthday to her. I blinked and you got it. How did you get over here?
She scooted.
Why
I
is that?
was very surprised the other day. I was watching Jimmy Fallon on The Tonight Show,
Yeah, I've heard of him.
and the Roots, who play for him,
The Roots. They're a very good band.
they did not sing Happy Birthday correctly. They did not do the octave jump. They did the other one.
Oh,
You
that
know,
would drive me nuts.
Happy Birthday. They did the other one. Happy
Key change one.
Yes.
Key change one.
Key change one.
Yeah, a lot of people do the key change. Instead of happy birthday, happy birthday, dear Ken. And we're gonna stay in this key, which is how we started.
And I thought,
I know.
of
That's
all
horrible.
people,
Yeah.
like these are professional musicians. Now, if they altered the tune,
Yeah.
does that take the copyright away? Could
No,
they?
no, you would have to really change it. And
You have to
change
really
the
change it.
lyrics, too.
Yeah, so
Maybe that's what they were trying to do.
I don't know, but it really threw me off. I got professional musicians and someone involved in entertainment, and they didn't do the octave jump. And it's still bothering me now.
That octave jump is the whole reason we sing it in elementary school whenever we can, as much as we can.
Because of the...
Want them to get that octave, yep.
Yeah. Yep, it's crazy. So Mr. D,
Mr. D, that's me.
what do you have going on this week? Are you almost done with school?
We are almost done with school.
I'm
so...
9 days left.
9? I think that's exactly when's your last day?
On my sister's birthday,
June 3rd is your
I
last day?
know my sister's birthday.
Wait, June 3rd is your last day and you
That's
still
a
have
Friday.
9 days? Are you sure?
I don't know.
That sounds right.
We have a 10-day countdown in our classroom.
Yeah.
We have a 10-day countdown in our classroom with balloons, and each day we pop a balloon, and it has like a little piece of paper inside.
What a cool idea.
That's a good idea. Oh, that's super fun. What a fun teacher you
Like,
must
How
have.
many-
maybe one day we have pajama day, maybe one day we have like bringing stuff in on this balloon.
Do you have
We had extra recess on Friday.
extra recess? Have you done your dance party yet with your kids?
No, that's gonna be the last day of school, June 7th.
Oh my gosh.
Field day.
Where you bring in the DJ thing and they dance up feet. It's called Field
They
Day?
call me DJ D.
DJ D.
DJ Donnelly.
DJ Donnelly.
That's me.
And do all the kids go out at once?
No, they're split it in half.
Oh, in
Yeah,
half,
kids
okay.
and older kids, yeah.
Okay.
It's a joyous day, field day. Do you have a field day?
Yeah, I don't. I don't think.
And do you do it,
We have summer send-off though, which is June 2nd.
Okay.
so what
It's
happens,
basically field.
what happens if it rains?
It's indoors.
It's indoors. Yeah, that's not much fun.
No.
But, so, because you had a bubble machine one time.
Oh yeah, bring my bubble machine.
We should bring that Pentecost.
Pentecost, which is like
Pentecost,
yes.
or Vacation Bible School.
Yes.
There'd be a point that would work for Vacation Bible
So
School.
you can fit it into any situation. Bubbles are always appropriate, right?
Mr. D, so far we have 24 children for Vacation Bible School.
Oh, okay.
That might be all we have. Which means that we're gonna be able to do some other stuff this year. When is it? It's when you are on vacation.
A lot of
You're
people.
going to be seeing Mickey Mouse, I think, right? Or is it, no, it's when your mom's in Malawi. Your mom goes to Malawi. Yeah, in June 20 to 24. Yep.
I'm going to Princeton.
Oh, you're going to Princeton? How cool is that? You're going to see your friends there? Wow, how fun. That's great. I'm happy for you. Let's see.
You want to do our, you know, we haven't done the Lord's Prayer for a while.
We haven't done the Lord's Prayer for a while. We
I
should.
even have a little screen.
You have it on the screen?
I do.
Nice.
Let's pray and then we'll do Jesus Loves Me and extinguish the candle.
And I'll let Ruby snuff.
Oh, Ruby
Ruby
is
the
snuffer.
snuffer.
All right, let's do our
Okay.
Jesus Loves Me, which should be on the screen.
There it is.
Together or echo?
I think together.
Together.
Yeah.
All right, let's pray.
Okay. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong, they are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. to tell her and anybody else who doesn't know yet. There are people who can read who've never heard of Jesus. They've never heard of God. They may not know that God's love is for everybody. They might think that God's love is only for people who do something special or who come from a special type of family. But God's love is for everyone, everywhere. And we don't have to do anything to earn it.
Right.
It's just there. And I don't think there's really much else in life that's like that, where you don't have to work to earn it. It's just there. What a great gift. Okay, would you like to change our light there, Miss Ruby? Ruby has a ruby dress on.
Oh, she
Ruby and the Ruby.
We're colors today.
Yeah, it's. We think because everything's backwards today that everything's just acting fun. Okay, Mr. Lee.
No next week?
No, next week because it's Memorial Day.
Oh.